is Isaac Joe Manuel. My dad's from Sprachman and my mom's from the Squamish Nation. And I've been 2 years in my manhood training. Done the Headwaters ceremony, the Spokolich ceremony, and the deer ceremony, and the Kikini ceremony. Working on my last year.
What do you like about the ceremonies, and what do you like about the training?
Get to learn new things about my culture.
And what are some of the challenges, and what are some of the hard things that you've had to do?
I guess standing still and staying put.
Staying put and staying still for a long time?
Yeah.
Standing in the water's okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
It's refreshing.
For the last 20 years, my older cousin Trish has been doing the manhood and the womanhood ceremonies and teachings and trainings, and certainly some of what I've been taught by my late father and a few other mentors, Herman Edward and Ernie Baptiste from Penticton, and a few of the other elders that were here that are gone now, have shared the concepts of manhood training and working with our youth. It's something that we're not preparing our young people to embrace adulthood and the challenge that come with it. Since the time of colonization, it's certainly interrupted how we conduct this ceremony and how we prepare our young people to contribute to their community, to contribute to their families. And the challenge is certainly technology in this day and age, and certainly the colonizing. So the need to decolonize our thinking and our approaches and how we teach our young people is a challenge in itself. But like anything else, we keep it simple. We take our children and our kids out onto the land and do the ceremony, and do a lot of things that we take for granted as adults and as elders and as junior elders, to take them out on the land, teach our kids to hunt and fish. How many people know how to clean a fish? How many people, the medicines? One of the things I teach my son about is place names. My late father would always, that was my social studies, was always remembering these place names. Wherever we were driving, there was a story or a chapticle of this place, he'd share that. And I always think in my mind, why am I learning this? Why do I got to? Because today I'm handing that down, a time-honored tradition, and certainly standing beside him and helping and supporting him in any way I can, and teaching him. Ceremony is a big part of it, because the idea is we harness that reproductive energy that has always been with our people. Young men are coming to the age of childbearing years, and same with our young women. So that energy is harnessed to pray for the land. Our young people are becoming will become parents, will become fathers and mothers. And so that energy is harnessed to pray for the land to regenerate. We regenerate the fish, the deer, Spokolich, Kikini, medicines, all of that, to pray for it. Pray for Tamuch, the spirit of the land. So, we've been fortunate enough to witness and participate and plan and actively be involved in this over the number of years. And so that is what we're doing today, and he's working on his last year. But the principles of this training are really no different. The Squamish have theirs. If you look at any other culture, they have their different rituals and ceremonies, but the idea was to get their young people to prepare them for contributing to their families and their communities. So we're doing the best we can to revive that, and yeah, we have a headwater ceremony coming up in the next few weeks, so we'll be preparing for that. He's also prepared sweat. He does have an axe. What was this used for?
Starting fire in the ceremonies. At the ceremonies. Cut wood.
What else?
It's a forged axe.
A forest axe to learn how to make kindling and make a fire. Because every time we do ceremony, the young people need to make fire. So an investment into a nice, beautiful axe. That's something that he'll always own. Hopefully, when he gets in, become a man and a father, that he'll remember this tool helping him learn and helping him participate in ceremony. So that's one of my gifts to him, to remind him of this important work, because fire has always been used as a medium to communicate with our ancestors. It was always used in ceremony. As our elders have taught us, the three things that us men revered was fire, our women, and the Creator. So learning how to make a fire, a great reverence for that, a great respect for that. It doesn't only cook your food, it keeps you warm, it also protects you. So a great reverence to that, and certainly that training is so important. So why limlum pisnak shil?
Why limlum pisnak shil?
Okay. Okay, I think just adding on to what we shared earlier about our rites of passage, 13 Moon Manhood training, participation. You know, as Indigenous people, we've always been challenged to walk in two different worlds. And we've seen and heard of that cliche numerous times. We got to walk in a world of modern conveniences in society, and yet our culture and traditions give us and form that sense of identity and belonging to family and community. And I think that's the big challenge. Certainly one of the legacies of colonization is in residential school and the impacts it's had in our families and our communities. So it's so important to teach our youth to know who they are. Growing up as a young boy, my elders always asked, "Who are you? Where do you come from?" You know, so that was always important when you ran into elders or met elders at funerals or gatherings. You tell them who your name was and your parents. "Oh, I know your parents. We went to school together," and you have a connection, and you make friends. So it's a sense of belonging not only to the family but to the community and to the nation. And it's something we're not doing enough, teaching our youth about this. My late mother would always drag me along, and this is your cousin and this is your cousin, "Oh, Mom, you're embarrassing me." And no, she was telling me who my relatives were to give me a sense of belonging and to know where I come from. And this is something, I know that I don't really want to embarrass my son, but I let him know that same lineage as well, and that's important. That's just one little aspect of when we do this training and when we do share this with our young people. Dr. Martin Brokenleg in The Circle of Courage talks 4 aspects of, and our ancestors knew this, four aspects of who we are. Who are you? Where do you come from? Why are you here right now in this time and place on earth? And where are you going? And if the youth can answer those four questions, they're well on their way. They're well on their way. And one of the things, taking my son was when he was a toddler. Used to take him ice fishing. He'd carry the fish around, one in each hand, His little snowsuit would be all slimy, but he knew what a fish was. And our children are always watching us. They're always watching what we're doing, taking them hunting. He was a chicken hunter at one time, and now he's graduated up and shot a deer and learning about that. So, that's one of the things he never shared, and I'll get him to share that. If you want to share the first time you shot your deer. We don't have to tell a long story, just share.
I don't remember other than just shooting it. Like, my first deer, I shot it like 5 or 6 times, because I'm not even sure if I was hitting the deer right or not.
What were your thoughts when you first saw it? When we first saw the deer?
Why isn't it running? I heard a shot. Did Uncle Buzz shoot it, or Keanu? And I shot it and it didn't move. It just kind of stood there. So then I took another shot, see if I could do anything. Then you came behind me and said, lay down and take a shot.
Were you nervous?
A bit, yeah.
But again, that's just something, allowing him to go through that experience and taking him out on the land and, keeping it simple. Take our children out on the land. We talked about place names and hunting and fishing. What are the protocols of hunting? How do you gut a deer? How do you clean a fish? How do you, the place names, there's so much. And to be blessed growing up with a father and a family that was strong in the culture and still is today, to maintain that, that's something that we need to share as well, and work with our youth. We're losing our youth through drugs and through the technology and through alcohol, all kinds of addiction, because our youth don't know who they are, and it's reconnecting. Back in 2003, 19 years ago, we took our community to Acknowledgement, where the young Manhood training was done for our young people, and reconnected with the mountain, and was foretold by a couple of our spiritual elders that we needed to go back to this mountain, that our songs and our culture and our ancestors were waiting for us to go back there, and we did. We went back and spent 4 years fasting on the mountain, and we started at the bottom of the mountain out of respect to grandfather and grandmothers, and we worked our way to the top on the 4th year to fast and to spend time there. But again, it was taking the community and the youth out on the land, and we look at today's modern conveniences of, I'm no different. I've got a little travel trailer out there that I take out camping. Our ancestors knew how to survive on the land, laying on moss or fir boughs, or making shelters out on the land and surviving. That humbles you in more ways than one. Right now, when we think of camp, I'm going to hook up my travel trailer and go to the mountains or go to a provincial park, and you don't challenge yourself often enough to survive or to learn, because the environment can be very harsh and unforgiving, and that's what our ancestors grew up with, and therefore that mindset of being out on the land and knowing what you were capable of doing. Each child was gifted in their own way. Not everybody was a hunter, not everybody was a drum maker, not everybody was a fisherman, but everybody contributed to the community, and that was important. There were artists, there were other aspects of a community that we're honored and we're taught and we're embraced by our ancestors to prepare our youth to what they would face in the future. So, and I think that's important. So by us doing the manhood training and the womanhood training over the years, certainly acknowledge my family, Trish Manuel for the wonderful work that she's been doing, Cindy Tom Lindley participated in that. We've had other, the nieces that have gone through, Ivy, the late Ivy Tom, and certainly our aunties and mothers and fathers have contributed to this. But we can't go back 200 years. What worked 200 years ago, and those times are different. And today we have that challenge of technology. We have that challenge of modern day conveniences. We're in the age of instant gratification where everything's at the push of a button. And how do we train our youth when they're exposed to instant gratification or that to go back to the old ways and challenges? So it's trying to bridge that gap between the two to teach them. And maybe walking in this world to train our kids to be tradespeople or computer technology or whatever, and also the principles of what was done. So how do we amalgamate the two? I think that's the challenge, and there is no right and wrong answer. And I think it's the community. We've all heard that it takes a community to raise a child, and not just a family. Growing up myself, I remember breaking a car window on the other side of the res, and before I got home there was a phone call, and I was in trouble before I got home. I didn't think that it mattered. Those adults of the day, made sure that I didn't get away with that, me and my cousin. And so, that's just one example of many of how different elders and different adults contributed to my own learning and who I am today, and not only just in my own community but throughout the nation, throughout the valley here. The acknowledgement of kin is so huge, and knowing all my relatives. I'm related to everybody here. Because I was related to everybody here, I couldn't marry anybody here. I had to go to the coast to find a wife, and same thing. My wife is related to everybody down there, and what does that do? That makes your family bigger, and therefore you're that much more richer for what you know, and for exposing our son to two cultures, three cultures, and hopefully he'll take that forward and learn and become the man that he chooses to be down the road, and having a strong foundation of identity and culture to build on and to share with his children. So why limlam pisnakshil?
Why?
Anything else, son?
No.
No? Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking forward to the headwater ceremony in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Standing in the ice cold water?
It's not gonna be ice cold.
Well, it's up in the mountains. So.
No, there's sun.
Yep. Okay, thank you.